On the 1st of July 2024, a group of 20 of us from Elevate departed Melbourne and made our way to the Philippines Bacolod. As we landed in the Philippines, it was super exciting to be reunited with Father Tin, who I'm sure most of you remember and loved. It was so good that he was able to make it on this mission trip with us. At the Good Samaritan Outreach Centre, we were tasked with our main project for the mission. Sister Anne, Sister Grace, and the team wanted us to clear out the local park and build a simple playground for the community kids. Our available materials were some old bike tyres and a few solid planks of wood. We realised we had a lot of work ahead of us, so we quickly split into teams and started washing and drying these tyres. Lucky it was warm because the paint was drying very fast. Day one, we were pretty optimistic. We knew we had our work cut out for us, but we were determined to make a difference to this less fortunate community and show our faith in action. It was already so eye-opening to see the level of poverty, especially at the squatter settlement. The Good Samaritan sisters visit the squatter settlement at least twice a week, where they have a feeding program for the community. For some of these kids, this is the only meal they will get for the day. One of the lovely Good Samaritan team members even invited us into her house. As you can see, it's very simple, but the view that she has is incredible. Being right on the water meant that they got an amazing view of the sunrise and sunsets, but it also meant that during high tide or wet season, it wasn't uncommon for the house to flood. Coming from our privileged lives in Australia, it was quite confronting to see the conditions of the squatter settlement. Not only do the Good Samaritan sisters feed hundreds of people regularly here, but during the school holidays, they handed out school supplies. Over the week, we made up just over 650 supply packs for the kids. They included notepads, pens, stationery, and we even did some for the older college kids or scholars, where they had drink bottles and specific bags. It was such a pleasure to see the amazing work that the Good Samaritan team is doing in Bacolod. Those ladies are the true embodiment of faith in action. Seeing their selflessness in real time every single day was inspiring. Over the 10 days, the team and us really became a family. Led by Sister Anne and Sister Grace, they led us into their homes, into their hearts, and into their families. They shared stories, they cleaned, they cooked, and boy, could they cook. The service and generosity they gave us had no bounds. Here's an incredible seafood feast that they made for us. Running almost exclusively on donations, it is amazing to see the lives that they are changing in their community. From the kinder, which has 120 students, and we were lucky enough to visit on their orientation day, it was quite overwhelming to hear that some of these kids would not be able to afford an education without the Good Samaritan Sisters' work. The Good Samaritan Sisters also have a scholarship fund for the college students. It was nice to get to know the scholars properly as we met them on multiple days. They joined us for praise and worship, which, as I'm sure you'll hear from the testimonies, was such a powerful night. One thing that became evident very quickly was how friendly and helpful everybody was. On day 2, we already had 1 or 2 of the kids coming and helping us. By day 3 and day 4, they had brought their friends. By day 7, we had an army of kids that all desperately wanted to help complete this playground before we left. Even with the language barrier, it was so satisfying seeing these kids so happy. The day that swing went up, I think something changed in all of us. Seeing these kids line up for their turn on the swing with huge smiles on their faces changed a lot for us. It was a very emotional day when the playground was finally finished. It was so fulfilling to see the number of kids growing every day. Over the whole mission trip, we had certainly built a bond with these kids. We knew their names, we had bonded over Roblox and Ronaldo. They taught us the language and we taught them games. They wrote us letters and told us not to cry. It was the hardest goodbye we've had to say in a while. We went on this mission with the hope that we would change lives, but instead, I think they changed ours. And I know all 20 of us would do it all over again in a heartbeat.